So good morning, my dear students. Today's class we are going to discuss about the functions. So till now we have seen how to write the basic programming in Python, how to work with variables, keywords, and how to use the input function, and also how to work with the conditional statements like if else, if else if ladder, and else. Today's class we are going to talk about the functions. As already we know, functions are the building blocks of the any programming language. So what is the definition of function? Function is a set of instructions which is defined to perform a particular task. Say for example, add of a comma b. So when I say add of a comma b, as it is mentioned, it is for the addition of two numbers. So here we are going to write a set of instructions to perform the addition of two numbers using two variables called a and b. Right? In any programming language, there are two types of functions which we are going to use. One is called built-in functions. Second one is called user-defined functions. So what is built-in function? So the built-in functions are nothing but the functions which are already predefined in the programming language. The functions which are already predefined in the programming language are called built-in functions. So what is user-defined function? So as name indicates, the user-defined functions are nothing but the functions which user is going to define. As I said couple of minutes before, add of a comma b. So it is a user-defined function. It is a user-defined functions. So till now we have seen so many functions, built-in functions in Python. So before going to see them once again, how they are going to work. So let us talk about, function calls. Function calls. See what is meant by function call. See when we define some function, how we are going to call it when it is required. How we are going to call it when it is required, right? That is called function call, right? So the function will be defined with a particular name called function name. So whenever you want to call that particular function, you need to call with the name of the function. So a function, once you call it, it is going to write some output. It's going to write some output, right? So the any function, it may take parameters or it may not take parameters. If it takes parameters, surely it is going to return some result. If it is not taking any parameters, there also there is a possibility that we'll write the results. Now let us see one by one. So already we have seen couple of functions. To give one example, type of 10. So here type is the function. Type is the function. The moment I call type function, this is a function call, passing some value to that, then I am getting the corresponding output. So this is how the function call will be defined. This is how function call will be defined. Now let us see few of the built-in functions in Python which will really help us in doing the programming, right? So the first function which we are going to see is max function. So as name indicates, if you want to find out the maximum of given values, then you can use max function. Say for example, max of 10, 20, 40, 5, 6. So within this, if I want to find out the maximum of the number, so you can see the maximum has been written as 40. So what does it mean? If you want to find out the maximum value in a given list of numbers, you can do that. At the same time, this max also work for the strings. So max of hello world, and which is a letter which is at the maximum level, so w. So when I execute this, you can see the w has come, right? At the same time, if you have multiple different numbers, like for example, so 3.5 comma minus 2.1, I'm taking the same example which is there in the notes, because next if you want to practice there won't be any confusion. So 15.3 comma 0.2. Now which is the maximum number, so that will be printed. So the max is used to find out the maximum of a given list of numbers or strings. At the same time, we can also use min. So min is another inbuilt function in Python. So let me take same values 10, 20, 40, 5, 6. See why I'm taking same values, because you can understand whether it max and min working properly or not. Now you can see that. Same way I can take min of hello world. So hello world. See, when I execute this, it is giving the space because that is the lowest character. Now what I will do is I'll also do again min of hello world. I'm not giving space. Now let us execute. You can see, so D is there, so D has been taken. At the same time, you can also do min of those values which we have taken here, right? I'll just copy these values. So I just copy it, Then let me paste it here. Now you can see the minus 2.1 is the minimum value. Minimum value, right? These are the two functions which you can use in the Python as a inbuilt functions. So the next function is length, LEN. So the main purpose of this length function is in a given single argument, it is going to find out the length of the particular word. Length of the particular word. Say for example, length of hello world. Length of hello world. So let me just close this. Now you can see it is 11. It is 11, right? So that means there are so many built-in functions which is available in Python. So based on the requirement, we are going to make use of it. As per the syllabus, we have these three main functions which are available in Python, so which we have taken it. Now we will see the type conversion of function. What is meant by type conversion? As we have seen in C programming. So when you want to convert one data type to the another data type, then we are going to use the type conversion. Then we are going to use the type conversion. So in C programming, so we are going to do the type conversion. So using various procedures. At the same time in Java also, by using dot operators, by using user defined types, etc., etc. Now we will see how to do that one in the Python. Say for example, I have a string value which I want to convert to integer. So int of 20, because I'm putting the value in single quotes, that means it is a string value. So when I convert it, you can see it has been converted into integer number. Same thing with int of double quotes 20. Now let us also check x equals to, I'm just giving some value 20. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just checking type of x, so it is a string. Now int of x, now it is 20. Now let us check once again type of x, right? See, then when I convert, the value only converted, but the actual class remains same. The actual class remains same because at the time of assignment I have taken this. So like this, if you want to do the type conversion, you can do the type conversion using particular data type from which you want to convert. You can convert it. Say for example, integer of 5.6, right? So you can see the integer of 5.6 or integer of minus 3.2. So minus 3.2, it is minus 3. See, like this, you can do the type conversion. You can see the example. If you want to convert into float, you can convert into float. If you want to convert into string, you can convert into string, etc., etc. Right? So these are the various type conversion operations we have. So type conversion made so easy in Python because the type conversion is just take the data type and then it is going to show us the final output. Now let us talk a little bit about the random numbers. See, most of the programming languages, we will write deterministic procedure. So that means, so the input to the program is already predefined. And output will be expected as per our requirement because we know the input, we are getting the output. But when it comes to real-time applications, that is not the criteria. So the input might be any random number, which is going to be any randomly generated output. Maybe it is generated from the sensors, maybe it is generated from the human, maybe it is generated from the database, maybe it is generated from any electronic device, maybe it is generated from the games, some noise, so many ways, right? So the procedure where we are getting the input in a various forms and various resources, then that particular procedure, that particular applications are called non-deterministic applications. So deterministic is nothing but where we know already predefined some input is there, some output as expected we are going to get. Sometimes there is a possibility that you won't give the inputs. So the input is random numbers. Somewhere it is getting generated, we are getting that. So that kind of applications are called non-deterministic. See, most of the applications in the real time are non-deterministic in nature, non-deterministic in nature. Why? Because we don't know what is the output, or sorry, what is the input we are going to get. What is the input we are going to get, right? So in that kind of scenario, so Python has a module called random, right? Python has a module called random, so which is used to generate the random numbers, So how to generate random numbers in Python? What you need to do is you need to import a package called random. You can see here the package has been imported. The package name is random. The package has been imported. Import random, right? So the function which we are going to use in random also random only. It's a random function. Random function. So that means when you want to generate some random values, so directly what you can do, you can use random package under that random function, then one random number will be generated. If you type again one same statement, another random number will be generated, right? So that means using this particular object, using this particular module, so whenever you want to give or whenever you want to provide some random inputs to the particular activity or particular application, we can make use of it, right? Now let us take an example. Let us take an example. So I have a, okay, first let us see this one. So print of print of let's say for example I'll give random dot random, right? It is a print of random dot random. See, first random is the method or the package, second random is the method. So now, so what happened? We got some output error. What is the output? Okay, so we need to import random, no? Import random. This is important. Then print random dot random. I think it should work. If not, we'll write in the program. Yes, so it started working. You can see here the number generated here is different, here is different. Again, if I take same statement, again another number will generate. You can see that the number has been generated, right? So that means, so we are not sure which number is going to generate. Now let's say for example, let us take the various methods under this random, right? Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use same random of random method. I want to generate some random number between 2, 20. I want to generate some random number between the 2, 20, right? So again, some problem has come. What is the problem? It is spelling mistakes or something. Random takes no arguments. Random takes no arguments. So actually, random don't take any arguments because it's a method. Now what I need to do, sorry, random dot, it's not random, rand integer 2, 20. I'm taking random dot rand integer 2, 20. See, you can take, I mean, it has given some other value. Now let's say same example, random dot rand int 2, 20. What is the random number it is taking? 7, right? See, like this, it is going to take some random number between the given list, right? Now also what I'll do is I'll create a sequence of numbers in a list. Say for example, t equals to, so what is list, what is tuple, we will see in the next modules. So 1, 2, -3, 45, 12, 7, 31, 22. This is a list which we have created. Now what I do is I want to check randomly. I want to select some choice. Random dot choice of t. Random dot choice of t. You can see one has taken. Again I'll try random dot choice of t. Now see, one more number has taken. So random dot choice of t. So another number is taken. See, why I tried 3 times is, first time when I tried it took 1, then 2. You should not get confused that it is taking continuously. No. So randomly it will pick some number. So sometimes it will take continuously. So that's why I have shown one more chance. Right. So this is a random function, which is a built-in function in Python, which we have taken. Right. Now, so let us go to the next concept. That is mathematical functions in Python. See, as like your C programming where we write hash include stdio.h, hash include math.h, right? Or in your Java you write import java.math.star. So here in Python also there is one math module out of which we are going to use some of the mathematical functions. Now to start with, we have first one is square root. We have first one is square root. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. So square root. How to use mathematical functions? Math dot square root of 34. I want to find out the square root of 34. So this is, see, name math is not defined. Why it is not defined? So we need to import the math function, right? So import math. Now math is imported. Now let us try for that. Math dot square root of 34. I should get output. See, same way, math dot square root of 25. Right? So this is how we are going to get the mathematical function of square root. Now, say for example, if I want to get the pi value, print of math dot pi value. See, not only pi value, if there is any default mathematical values like pi, you can get all those values. So next is logarithmic value. If you want to get the logarithmic value, then you are going to get math dot log of 2. Log of 2. So this is a math dot log of 2. Say for example, math dot log of 4. So this is the math dot log of 4, right? Next, so suppose, see, as when you are performing logarithmic operation, this is used to compute a natural logarithmic of a given number. Sine. Next is sine. So as the name suggests, if you want to find out the sine value of a given argument, then we are going to use the sine function, and the argument must be in radians, not in the degrees. Not in the degrees. One can convert the number of degrees into radians by multiplying pi by 180. This is a mathematical notation which you probably know. So math dot sine of 90 multiplied by math dot pi, because we want to convert into radians, right? Radians we are going to convert. So 180. Now we should get some value. Let us try something like math dot sine of 180. Directly I am giving what is happening, right? Or let us say math dot sine of 2. So like this you can use the values. Same thing with the cos value. So math dot, but it is suggested to use the radians. Cos of 45 multiplied. How to convert into radians? It's very simple. So 45 multiplied by math dot pi value by 180. So it is a conversion. So then you will get some value. Something else wrong. Math dot cos. Okay, pi value, pi I have written wrong. So math dot cos of 45 into math dot pi by 180. Right? Some value will get. So these values, sir, whether they are correct, you need to check. Same way, we can also get tan values. And you also have one more function, math dot power of x comma y. Let's say for example 2 comma 3. You can see the power of value is coming. So these are the few of the inbuilt functions which are available. These are the few of the inbuilt functions which are available in Python. So there are so many functions, not only these things. So we have so many functions available in the Python. So now let us see few of the user-defined functions, not few of the, how to define user-defined function. See, in Python, when you want to create a user-defined function, you need to use def keyword. Followed by the function name. And if you have arguments, you can mention the arguments. So argument list is nothing but the variables which we are going to use, or the arguments which we are going to use. And within that, we are going to write all the statements, and then one return value. So as I said in the last class, whenever you are defining the conditions, functions, or some of the special cases like try, except, and all, you should end with the colon. So this is one syntax how the function has been created in Python. Let us take one example. See, you can see here def is the keyword, myfun is the function name. I'm not passing any parameters, just ending with the colon. I'm printing some statements. I'm printing some statements. How to call this function? It's very simple. You just call with the name. You just call with the name, the function will be called. So whenever you want, you can call with the name, right? Now what I will do is I'll just execute this program. We'll see a couple of examples how the user defined functions will be done, right? So let me just go here. Let me go to new file. So here I'm just pasting it. So as function is defined first, we should be having some indentation problem. We are just removing that. So remaining is fine. Now let me just execute. It will ask to save. So let us save this. Say for example, I'll save it as so function1 .py. Function1.py. Now let me execute this. Let me execute this. So run the module. So when I run it, you can see it has been printed. Example, hello, example of function. Because the first statement is example of function, then my function is called. It will go and execute my function, that is hello and inside function. Hello and inside function. Then it will come out and it will print the example over. Example over, right? Same thing. See, not only this, anything you can do. Say for example, add of a comma b. See, start writing your own programs, then only you can understand. So you can define like int a equals to 10, right? And int, not int, a equals to 10, b equals to 10, or some value you can give. So a equals to 10, b equals to 10, c equals to a plus b, right? So print the value of c is, right? C, value of c is c. Let me try how it is going to work. So add of, actually we need to pass parameters here, so we can also pass it from this side. So what I can do is 10, 20, I'll pass it directly here instead of writing there, right? So let me pass it here directly. We'll see how it's going to work. So let me just comment it. Anyhow, we have not seen comments. You can see here how to make comment, right? So if you make it hash, it is a comment. So let us run it. I don't know whether it will execute or not. Let us try it. Yeah, so it is executing. You can see here, right? So like this, you can define the user-defined functions in Python. User-defined functions in Python, right? So when you try knowing the particular function, type of the function, if you try like type the type of my function, it will surely write the, it is a function, it is a function, right? So if you say like print of my function, it will say what is the function name and it at which address location it has been taken, right? Which address location it has been taken. Say for example, I'll go here, I'll say like, sorry, I will go here and I will say like, we have taken one function of print of add, print of add. See, you can say function add has been created at particular location. Function add has been created at particular location, right? Or say for example, type of function, right? Type of add, what type of it is? So add is a function, right? So like this, we can use the writing the function, how we can use the functions, etc., 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 right? So yeah, say for example, if you first call the function, then if you define the function, you will get the error. See what I'm doing here, first I'm calling the function, then what we are doing, we are defining the function. There what will happen, the error will come, because before you call any function, first it should be defined. So it should be first and it should be next. So the flow of execution is also very important. So consider an example. I'm defining a function called my function with some data, and I'm defining one more function called repeat. Within this repeat function, I'm calling the my function, right? And I'm printing some data. Again, I'm calling the my function. So when I print something and then repeat function, I'm calling this function. I'm calling. Now what is going to happen? So first it is going to call the repeat function. First it will execute the example of the function. Then it will call the repeat. Then it will call the repeat. So then repeat it will go here. In turn it will call the my function. Then it will print inside my function. Inside my function. Again it will go and print inside repeat. Again my function is called. Again it will go and print inside my function. then it will come out of it, then it will print example over. So what does it mean? So whenever you are defining a function in Python, first you need to define it, then you need to call it. First you need to define it, then you need to call it. And also you can define any number of functions within the function. So within one function, you can create any number of functions, right? And coming to the parameters and arguments. So as like in C programming and C++ programming, so here also you can pass parameters as arguments to the functions, So as you have seen already in example, no need of much more examples, you can understand here itself. I'm passing the parameters to the function, Same thing here we are doing. So I'm creating a function called test where I'm passing some variable. So within that I'm printing some data. So now when I go first, this statement will execute example of function, then x equals to hello, test of x. So when I call test of x, x is nothing but hello. This hello will be assigned to var. Then it will print first inside test and argument is hello. Then y is assigned with 20. So again you can call that function. So it will go and take that value and assign it to 20. Then it will perform the execution. So that means you can pass the values or strings, anything as a parameters to the function. So here another example. So when you want to pass the values, say x into 3, that means x value is hello, into 3 means 3 times it will print hello. So that will be passed as a parameter to this particular variable. Same thing. So 20 into 3, 60. 60 will be passed here. So that means you can pass the parameters as arguments whichever way you want. So there is no limitation in that, right? So that is how functions will be created. That is how values will be passed in the Python functions. Now let us see one more type of functions, which is called fruitful functions and void function. Let us see first void function. What is void function? As already we know, the void function is a function which does not return any value to the calling function. Then it is called void function, right? So the function which returns some value to the calling function. Then it is called fruitful function. So example for the void functions is, so whichever functions you have written without return value, that is void function. Example for fruitful function is all built-in functions are fruitful functions because they are going to write some or other way some value. So let us take an example. Now you can see here I'm defining a function called sum of a comma b, as we have seen the example. So I'm taking some x and y value. I'm passing a x comma y. Here I'm calling it. This is becoming calling function. Sum of x comma y. So it will go here. It will calculate the sum of a plus b and it is returning the value. For whom it is returning? It is returning the variable called s. So the s value has been returned from a function called return. So this is called fruitful function because we are writing some value from the called function to the calling function. Whoever is calling me, I'm going to write some value return to them. So then it is called fruitful function. Some cases there won't be any return statement. Then it is called as void functions. For example, we have seen previously, right? So here I'm not returning anything. Directly test is called, it is printing something and it is exiting. So these are all the void functions where there is a return value which needs to be given back to the calling function. Then it is called fruitful functions. Right. So that is about the fruitful functions and void functions. Now the next question is why we require functions. See, in any programming language, functions plays vital role, right? So why we require a function? When you want to make or execute particular tasks, you require a function. And functions will help us in reducing the number of lines of code because repetitive tasks you no need to write number of times. Same function you can call any number of times. You have seen the example. So you can write function once, use any number of times. That is the advantage of functions. And a long program can be divided into number of subprograms. That is also possible. A long program can be divided into number of subprograms using the functions, right? And if you define the functions very properly, in very proper way, it will really help us in reusing those functions whenever it is required. So that are the main advantage of functions, right? That is the main advantage of functions, right? So this is about the functions. This is something like beyond the syllabus, so we're just not going to see that. It's not really so required for us. That is about the functions, how to call the functions, what is meant by fruitful functions, what is meant by void functions, how to pass the functions within the function, how to call another function, right? So with this we completed the first module. So in the next class we'll continue with the next module, right? Thanks for joining. Take care of yourself.